James, the Edmonton Eskimos want a victory here today to clinch second spot on the CFL West and home field for the Western Division semifinal. This team is a team in turmoil, not typical of Eskimo teams in recent years. They are in Edmonton, putting on a brave front for the matchup against the Calgary Stampeders today.
They are. I mean, that turmoil in the last 6 weeks is really centered around David Archer, and that's why I don't think it's such a bad idea to have David Archer sit on the bench and regroup from the sideline for at least one game. Enter Jimmy Kemp. Now, when you compare the two quarterbacks' numbers, Jimmy Kemp is really just 927 yards back of Archer, and he's played 6 less games. He's 4-1 as a starter. Now, what Kemp has to do this afternoon, though, is he has to score early. This is a team offensively that has really lost all their confidence. They need to score early and often to get it back.
On the other side of this Battle of Alberta, the Calgary Stampeders are a team in complete harmony. These are happy days in Calgary. Quarterback Jeff Garcia is the meal ticket. He'll start today, and the question has to be, how long will Wally Buono keep him in?
Well, this is going to be tough on Wally Buono because he wants the team to approach this game like they haven't clinched the playoffs and play to win. That's why Jeff Garcia will get the start and play as long as the game is in doubt. We will see Henry Burris, but how often remains to be seen. You know, knowing Jeff Garcia, I don't think you could keep him out of this game, especially when you consider they're playing the Edmonton Eskimos, and these two teams hate each other.
Absolutely. It is Edmonton, it is Calgary, and while the Stampeders do not have to have a victory here this afternoon, remember who they're playing, the Battle of Alberta, and it gets very intense. The Stampeders want to win, too.
All right, thank you, gentlemen, and here are our starting quarterbacks. Yes, Kemp in for Archer, a move many say is long overdue. And Garcia, I tell you what, every time he gets hit, Buono and the boys will be covering their eyes. Kickoff is coming up. Stay tuned.
The Stampeders have locked up first place for the 7th time in 9 years in the 80s. Today, the Stamps look to make it a clean sweep over their arch rivals from Edmonton under a bright blue Alberta sky.
No question, Calgary wants to win this one, but it's more important for the Edmonton Eskimos, who with the win this afternoon can lock up a home field game in the playoffs.
It is a perfect day for football. A few sleepless nights for Edmonton head coach Kay Stevenson. The Eskimos do have a playoff spot locked up, but they haven't played well lately with 5 losses in the last 7 games. Troubled times in Edmonton.
Wow, Wally Buono, it really is incredible what he has done with this team in the 90s. No coach has won more games. For 7 times in the last 9 years, he's had his team in first place. And for 10 straight years, he will play a playoff game right here at McMahon Stadium.
The Eskimos will kick it off. Sean Fleming is getting ready for Edmonton. And it's underway. 3rd and final installment in the regular season of this Battle of Alberta. Terry Vaughn returning for Calgary. And he's out to the 30-yard line. 20 on the return. Jeff Garcia looks to make it 3 straight wins over the hated Eskimos. A complete sweep and a perfect season in Alberta. Slot back Vince Danielson is back after 3 on the sidelines to line up alongside Alan Pitts. Up front, Fred Childress will clear the way for running back Kelvin Anderson.
1st and 10, Calgary.
A very solid Calgary team with a wonderful run through 1998, 11 wins, 5 losses, and they clinched top spot a week ago. Garcia got a little heat and got it away. The target was Vince Danielson.
Defensively for the Edmonton Eskimos, they're led up front by Malvin, the big game hunter. He leads the way with 13 sacks. Dwayne Stewart will start for the 5th time in the linebacking corps. And in the secondary, the leader is Dwayne Provo with 5 interceptions.
Now, is that Malvin, the big game hunter, or Malvin, big game hunter?
Big game hunter.
2nd and 10, Calgary. 3 receivers to the near side. Garcia will put it up. And he has Danielson, or rather, Travis Moore out of the 40-yard line. That'll be enough for a first down.
Finally by Tavis Reed, number 24.
Well, what's interesting is that we talked about Wally Buono not wanting Jeff Garcia to get hit if he can help it at all. And 2 plays in a row, Garcia's dropped back and thrown it. In the first one, he got smacked. In the second one, he gets it out in the curl to Travis Moore to pick up the first down.
Nice season for Travis Moore. 6 touchdowns. He's missed a couple of games because of injury, so those numbers might be a little closer to 1,000 had he been around for a couple more. Garcia on first down. This is Kelvin Anderson. And he stumbles across the 45. The gain will be 5. Tackle made by Leroy Blue.
Well, we've said all season, Kelvin Anderson is the key to success for the Calgary offense. In the 11 wins Calgary's had this year, Kelvin Anderson averaging around 80 yards a game. In the 5 losses, that is cut almost in half to 50. Kelvin Anderson has to see the football.
He leads the West in rushing again in 1998. Won the Derby out here in 1997. 4 receivers far side for Garcia. The heat was on. He got it away. Over the middle. Big first down for the Stampeders. Danielson looks pretty fit after missing 3 games. Vince Danielson back from a knee problem, and a big catch there.
Well, the reason it's important for Vince Danielson to be back in the lineup is that he will pick up the blitz. He knows that the Edmonton Eskimos are coming with blitz. He recognizes it and finds the soft spot underneath. Makes himself a big target, catches the football, and heads up the field.
Gain was 25 yards, Glenn, as the Stampeders set up inside the Eskimo 40 at the 38. Kelvin Anderson, nice hole for the big running back, and Anderson still on his feet, crossing the 20-yard line. Cavis Reed finally got over to make the tackle. What a great start for the Stampeders.
Well, it's a good start for the Stamps because they're mixing things up well. They've already had some success in the passing game with Travis Moore and Vince Danielson, and then when you throw in a couple of nice runs by Kelvin Anderson, and you have the Edmonton Eskimos on their heels to start this football game defensively.
The gain was 21 yards. First and 10 Calgary at the Eskimos 17. This one is just nicely underway, and what a perfect afternoon for football. Anderson again. And the hole wasn't quite as big that time as he followed Jamie Crysdale through and ran into Willie Pless.
Well, it's interesting. One of the best offensive linemen in the league right now, Fred Childress, is the guy who's going to do a lot of the blocking for Kelvin Anderson. And the two are good buddies. They met in Birmingham, and they hang out before games. So it's nice to have big Fred Childress blocking for you, and you know your good buddy Kelvin Anderson's right behind you running the rock.
2nd and 5. Stampeders at the Eskimo 12. And that play is whistled out. Was there early movement, or did Garcia take a little too much time?
Well, Alan Pitts was doing a dance at the line of scrimmage. I don't know if he was drawn offside by an Edmonton defender or if he went off on his own. Offside, Edmonton number 40. And there's my answer. Benny Goods was offside, and that's why Pitts thought the play was going and kind of jumped around there. But not the start the Edmonton Eskimos wanted to this football game, no question.
This drive began back at the Stampeder 30-yard line. And a pretty good chance to come up with 6 here. 7 plays to cover 73 yards.
Stampeders at the 7.
First and goal to go, Calgary at the Eskimo 7. Garcia on target and a little short of the intended receiver, Kelvin Anderson.
Don Wilson got caught in the mix. He was trying to cover Kelvin Anderson. C-25 got caught up in the rub, but the ball was thrown low. That one's thrown on target. Kelvin Anderson's in the end zone because 25 Don Wilson couldn't get through the pick play to go over there and cover him. Dodged a bullet on that one.
2nd and goal to go. Stampeders at the Eskimo 7-yard line. 9th play of this drive. Garcia to the end zone. Magnificent. Alan Pitts at his very best. Touchdown number 100 in the great career of Alan Pitts.
The Edmonton Eskimos went with a blitz, and when they did that, Garcia knew that Alan Pitts would be in a one-on-one, and it doesn't matter. If you're Jeff Garcia, it doesn't matter who's covering Pitts or who's trying to. If you get a one-on-one situation, you're going to go to number 18 if you're a Calgary quarterback, and you won't see a prettier touchdown than Alan Pitts right there.
Did Garcia knew that he would one-hand it?
No, I don't think so.
Did he know he would one-hand that one? That was magnificent. 7-0 Stampeders. What a terrific opening drive. It began back at the 30-yard line. Pitts hauls it in for his 100th career TD. Alan Pitts, simply the best through his wonderful career as a member of the Calgary Stampeders, the all-time touchdown leader in Canadian Football League history.
Well, that was pretty. One-hand stab in the back of the end zone.
The Calgary kickoff. And a former Stampeder, Brian Wiggins, takes it at the 5. Nice return for Wiggins. Still standing at the 45-yard line. So the Eskimos will at least have field position to begin this drive. 45 yards on the return.
Well, that was a pretty touchdown, and it deserves one more look. Rio Wells is in man-to-man coverage, and he's going to come up and bump. Now, the crucial thing there is you got to keep inside position. Alan Pitts with a good shake move and then a swim, gets inside position, and now Garcia just has to float it up and over, and he'll stick a fork in that pigskin.
Thing of beauty. 9 plays to cover 80 yards. It took almost 5 minutes. Key play was Danielson's 25-yarder and the touchdown by Alan Pitts. Jimmy Kemp at the controls for the Edmonton Eskimos. He's 4-1 as an Eskimo starter, and Wiggins was the target. Kemp missed him by a couple of feet. Starting lineups are brought to you by Midas Car Care, the way it should be. The Eskimos have gone to the backup in an attempt to take the heat off a team in turmoil. Don Blair is Edmonton's top receiver. Tony Burse is back in the backfield, only his 3rd game this season. And up front, Leo Groenwagen plays his 215th consecutive game. Dowdell, in his 4th start for the Eskimos, is split wide to this side, and 4 receivers flank out of your picture, top of the screen. Kemp stands in, and he missed Dowdell. So Kemp is out in a hurry with Greg Frears covering on the play.
Defensively for the Calgary Stampeders, Bronzell Miller, 7 sacks on the year. Henry Newby gets his 2nd start at middle linebacker, and in the secondary, Jack Kellogg having a tremendous season, 8 interceptions, co-leads the CFL.
Yeah, along with Steve Mohammed of BC and Orlando Steinauer of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, 8 picks apiece. Fleming is in, kicking into a bit of a breeze. Fleming had a little heat that time. It's coming down to Terry Vaughn. No yards. Marker goes down, and Vaughn slips through to about the 27-yard line. Tony Burse leading the Eskimo tacklers. The return is 13.
Well, Alan Pitts really making history this season. You see where he is, 100 touchdowns. No receiver in the history of the CFL has ever scored 100. New record for Pitts, and that's how close he is to catching George Reed all time.
He's got a couple of games to go.
And Alan Pitts wants to play a few more years, so it's not out of the realm of possibility that he could actually do it.
Number 30.
The old record held by Brian Kelly, broken by Pitts last week. Calgary Stampeders have had just a wonderful run through 1998, 6-3 on Labor Day. They won 2 games against the Eskimos back-to-back, and that really catapulted the Stampeders into top spot in the West, and that was where the Edmonton Eskimo problems really began. Back-to-back losses to the Stampeders. They haven't won many times since.
You're right. I mean, Edmonton is used to losing on Labor Day here, but they're used to winning the rematch.
Kelvin Anderson.
Just bowling behind the big offensive line.
What a run he's having.
Has a gain of 7 on
His 3rd straight 1,000-yard season. He averages 5.5 yards a carry, just over that average on that play with 6 yards picked up.
Yeah, he's very important on 1st down to get Jeff Garcia in 2nd and short situations, and Kelvin Anderson just been solid all year.
Calgary 29.
Another 1,000-yard season like you mentioned, John.
He's done it 3 times in a row. 2nd down and 4, Calgary. Anderson again. and fighting for the first down.
You know, we would talk probably about Kelvin Anderson more, and so would the media across this country if there wasn't for a guy named Mike Pringle in the Canadian Football League, because really, when you think 3 years in a row over 1,000 yards, that's remarkable, and we should say congratulations to Mike Pringle for hitting the 2,000 mark today.
First and 10, Calgary at the 34.
Anderson already has 42 yards. He is second in rushing to Mike Pringle, just like he was last year. That's pretty nice company to be in when you're in second spot. Pringle has been brilliant for Montreal. Anderson again.
Number 32 with the carry.
The gain is 4.
And Willie Pless, number 39, finished him off.
Well, this is the type of game plan that Wally Buono would love to see happen, because we've talked about how he has to be concerned with his quarterback situation now that Dave Dickinson is hurt and not available. Jeff Garcia is going to be his guy now. He's got to be worried about the fact that Jeff Garcia is playing and could possibly get injured. So if he can run the ball all game long, handing it to Kelvin Anderson, that's exactly what he'd like to see.
Garcia will put it up this time, and it's picked out. Trent Brown
Garcia's pass intercepted by 28.
jumped up and hauled down that Jeff Garcia pass.
Taken down by the Stampeders, number 87, Aubrey Cummings.
Well, Trent Brown, I believe, was in a bit of a double situation. You see 28 to the right of your screen. He was going over to double team on Alan Pitts. He got crossed up and ended up getting deep on Vince Danielson. Rather be lucky than good sometimes, because that's where the ball ended up, and Trent Brown makes a nice catch to get the turnover for the Edmonton Eskimos.
This is a big break for the Eskimos, down 7-0, something Kay Stevenson really needs at this point of the ball game. Kemp did not move the ball or get a first down. The last time he had his mitts on the football. C.J. Williams gets the call.
Here you go.
Kemp hands to number 34, Tony
Williams with 343 yards rushing on the season ran into Steve Anderson.
C.J. Williams has been a bit of a forgotten man in the running game for the Edmonton Eskimos over this 6-game stretch. But he will see the ball a lot this afternoon with Troy Mills out of the lineup. Really, Edmonton going with 2 fullbacks in the running back positions. They don't have a true tailback.
7 for C.J. This is 2nd and 3. And first might have been stopped a little bit short.
Henry Newby, number 91, and Alondra Johnson, 51.
Solid
the game. Jack Kellogg
run by Merce will get him the first down.
You call it swarming defense, and that's what it is. Daryl Hall knifes through and gets first contact, but it's the pursuit from the Calgary defenders, Alondra Johnson and Henry Newby, that's flying over there, that really gets the job done. I talked to Henry Newby before the game. He is so excited about being back in the league in his second start. He's been in town for about 3.5 weeks, but he says, I have something to prove because I want to play 3-4 more years.
Landed with the right team. Don Blair has his first catch, but he's wrapped up and fired to the turf quickly by Jack Kellogg.
Kellogg, number 3.
You know, it's nice to have interceptions. Nice to be in the league lead or up in the top 10 in interceptions, because you get a lot of press as a defensive back because of that. But Jack Kellogg is having a great season for more than just interceptions. And it's plays like that that he's made consistently for Calgary that has put him in the top of the league as far as halfback goes.
Only a 1-yard gain for Blair. This is 2nd and 9. Eskimos at the Stampeder 39-yard line. Shotgun for Jimmy Kemp. Here's the heat. Kemp retreats and fires. Dowdell makes the catch, but there's a marker down on the play. The gain will be 12 if it stands for Marcus Dowdell.
Well, it took a long time for that play to develop. Jimmy Kemp held on to the ball for quite a while.
Calgary 92. Penalties declined. First down.
Steve Anderson was offside, so obviously Edmonton will decline that. Take the yardage from Dowdell.
Gain of nearly 12 yards for the Eskimos.
And obviously the first down just inside the Calgary 30-yard line. This drive began with the interception by Trent Brown. Kemp on first down, Dowdell, and it bounced off his hands and rolled in complete coverage again by Jack Kellogg.
Jack Kellogg's getting the work out, number 3.
Nice secondary for the Calgary Stampeders, isn't it? With Marvin Coleman on one side, Davis is certainly solid in the other halfback spot corresponding with Kellogg.
He really is. I mean, the halfbacks have really stepped it up, and had a great season. Eddie Davis leads the team in knockdowns. Jack Kellogg having a great year. William Hampton on the corner is also playing well. He has 4 interceptions on the year. And then Marvin Coleman, the old vet on the other side, really isn't tested very often. So it is solid.
2nd and 10. Kemp shotgun, looks long, and look for Dowdell. He drew double coverage heading to the sidelines, and Kemp missed him by about 5 yards.
Yeah, Aldi Henry came in as the extra defensive back for the Calgary Stampeders, and what they'll do is that when they bring him in, they like to play 2 guys high or 2 guys in deep coverage. That means Greg Frères and Aldi Henry will play deep and help any deep patterns. Dowdell ran a corner, which is a deep pattern, so Aldi Henry picks him up deep, and Marvin Coleman was the underneath guy. Bit of a double team to try and take away the deep pass.
Sean Fleming good on 31 of 36. Hitting on 86% of his field goals so far this season. Definitely in range. And right on the money for Sean Fleming as the Eskimos get on the scoreboard at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. What a day for a football game here with a CFL Live on PSN.
We're proud to be the...
Sounds like a capital idea. What a wonderful afternoon at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. A bright blue sky. And after the field goal, Sean Fleming puts it out of bounds, which is not the thing you really want to do in the CFL these days.
No, not this year, because that means Calgary gets the ball on the 45-yard line, which is excellent position.
One of the new rules in the CFL, and we really haven't seen very many out-of-bounds kicks this year. Might have been a little brain cramp for Fleming there, forgetting what he was really trying to do.
Well, it's not as easy as it looks. I mean, all of you, your first impression is to think to a kicker, look, you got all that room, just kick it in bounds. But what they try and do is kick that ball close to the numbers as they can get it to help the coverage teams. And sometimes you're flirting a little bit with the sideline, and that time Fleming knocked it out of bounds.
Another timeout at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Wally Guano and the Stampeders have a 7-3 lead on the rivals from the north, the Eskimos.
5 yards to the 30-yard line.
The Edmonton Eskimos have decided they'd rather re-kick from the 30-yard line than give it to the Stampeders.
Yeah, well, Wally Guano has the choice. He can take it on the 45, which is great field position. We mentioned that earlier, or he can elect to have Edmonton kick it over. So Sean Fleming will definitely keep it in bounds this time to see what happens.
Marvin Coleman waiting at the 21.
There you go. There you go.
Surrounded by Eskimos down there, and Philippe Girard was the first one there. 14 yards on the return after a 60-yard kickoff. Jeff Garcia, an impressive march for the Stampeders' first touchdown. And a nice toss to Alan Pitts to make it 7-0. The Eskimos have responded with a field goal, and that's where we stand right now with 3:12 to go in the opening quarter at McMahon.
Kelvin Anderson has also been a big part of this offense, George Cortez's game plan so far this afternoon. And you have to think when you're looking at ahead to the playoffs and what could be a little bit different weather at that time, the running game becomes more and more important.
So they might as well practice it while they have the chance. And here's Anderson trying to get outside. That was a heck of a run without much blocking out there.
Making a fair amount out of nothing.
Serta got out.
Willie Pless,
as Willie Pless
came
over to make the tackle. 8 yards for Anderson.
Well, that was all Kelvin Anderson. I mean, he did not have any blocking help to that side of the field and made something out of nothing. And in fact, made 9 yards out of nothing.
Stampeders out at the 42-yard line with a 7-3 lead on the Eskimos. Final meeting of the season. The Stamps won the previous 2. Anderson again on second, and a couple. Just give it to Anderson when you've got that kind of a problem. He'll have another first down for you.
Well, one of the matchups that we'll watch throughout this game is Willie Pless and Calvin Anderson. Right now, Calvin Anderson's having some success, and once again, they'll meet in the hole. It's Willie Pless who is going to miss the tackle right there, and Anderson allowed to move up 4 or 5 more yards. Right now, we'd have to give the nudge to Calvin Anderson, but you know when you have a 5-time Defensive Player of the Year that he's going to come back hard.
Injured player on the Eskimo team being attended to down at the 45-yard line. Appears to be Rio Wells, who started at right halfback. And the only other defensive back listed, well, hang on, it's not,
Let's have a big
it's not
hand.
Rio, it's Don Wilson, actually.
Yeah, it's Don Wilson.
Sky Winds marching band.
Don Wilson's number 25 right there. Take a look and see how he got caught in the mix. He's taken on the lead block by Fred Childress, and Fred Childress knocked him about 4 yards back. I would say a bit of a mismatch in size when you have Fred Childress at about 330. Well, he says 330 in the program, but take a look at him. That's 350 if it's announced.
I would guess, even from up here, that's a pretty good guess.
Well, what a tremendous year Fred Childress is having. He has got to be the front runner as the outstanding lineman in this league.
He was the outstanding lineman of the West Division last year and made it to the Chrysler Awards at the Grey Cup.
I asked defensive linemen throughout the league who they think the toughest guy is to play against, and to a man, Fred Childress is the first guy that comes up. I mean, I'm one of the guys that gets to pick the All-Star, or gets to vote on the All-Star team in the awards, and that's why I do that. I go around and talk to the defensive linemen and say, who is it tough to beat? Who is really dominating? It's always Fred Childress, they say.
A field goal or a touchdown, and everyone here wins a big goal.
Don Wilson heading to the sidelines. Nice to see him up. Patrice Denis comes in to fill in for Wilson at the linebacking spot. Talked about Leo Groenwagen playing in his 215th consecutive game. That's a lot of hits.
And Kay Stevenson was just talking to Leo Groenwagen and said, that was Fred Childress, wasn't it? That was a pretty good block. We got to do a lot of those when we get the ball. He said, sure, I'll do that.
No problem. 2:20 to go in the opening quarter with the Stamps on top of the Eskimos.
1st and 10.
7-3. Another Calgary first down as the drive continues. Out at the Calgary 48 now. Garcia, play action this time. Throwing on the run, and there's Alan Pitts. Just about a perfect pattern. Exactly what they planned.
Well, this is the veteran in Alan Pitts, because he's going to line up way deep in the backfield. He's way back there behind Kelvin Anderson. I'm talking 10 yards back. Now, he gets a run at the line of scrimmage. Now, what he's trying to do is bait the halfback, Rio Wells, into thinking that he's going to go deep. He said, if I'm going to get that big of a run, you better turn and get your hips around, or I'm going to go deep on you. Then he breaks it out and comes back to the football.
Another Stampeder first down. This time Bond goes up to drag it down. 4th year with the Calgary Stampeders.
There is a penalty flag.
3 times over 1,000 yards. And he'll be over 1,000 yards with that catch if it stands, barring the penalty down there.
Well, we talked about Kelvin Anderson and having Mike Pringle in the league.
There's no infraction on the play. Second down.
Makes it tough to get any kind of publicity, and when you're Terry Vaughn having Alan Pitts as a teammate in the receiving corps, it's also tough to get a lot of the pub and a lot of the ink in the newspapers throughout the year. But to their credit, this receiving corps never complains. Even if they don't see the ball a little bit, they never complain. And when they get their turn, they take advantage of it.
2nd and 11. Garcia goes to Cummins on the far side, and Cummins can't bring it in. Another marker down. Back-to-back penalties on this Stampeder drive.
Rio Wells was going to come on the halfback blitz, and Alan Pitts was trying to let Garcia know that he was coming. Here's Rio Wells right here. He's going to try and come up on the blitz, kind of gets caught in the neutral zone, then gets back, and then Pitts looks like he might be offside. So see how the officials sort this one out.
Illegal formation, Calgary. Penalties declined. 3rd down.
Fairly easy to do, I guess.
Well,
sorting it out.
Pitts can be in the neutral zone or on the line of scrimmage as long as he's moving forward. And when he stopped his feet, he became the end man on the line of scrimmage. There was a guy outside of him, so it made it an illegal formation.
Tony Martino checks in, averaging 48.4 yards per punt. That's right at the top of the league. Sailed 181 yards with a bit of a breeze behind him one game this season. Wiggins deep for the Eskimos, along with Marcus Dowdell. It's over Wiggins' head and sailing into the end zone. Rolling right through for another point for the Calgary Stampeders. Perhaps not what they had in mind. A 70-yard punt sailed for a single.
Well, the #1 receiver for the Edmonton Eskimos so far this year has been Don Blair, but in the last 6 games when Edmonton has started to slide, so has Blair's production. And you can look at those numbers, 97 yards at BC, and then it went down from there. He did have 4 catches for 67 last week, but he really has dropped off. Don Blair could be one of the best receivers in this game if on every play he went full speed. And we saw him last week versus BC a couple of times. Didn't quite run the pattern full speed. David Archer tried to go to him. The ball fell incomplete.
Eskimos begin at the 35-yard line after giving up the single points. Tony Burst back in the lineup after missing a lot of this season. He has 0 yards. Let's bring in Sherry Hargrave on the sideline.
Thanks, John. And Glenn, with me right now is backup Stampeder quarterback Dave Dickinson. Obviously not in the backup role today, sporting a cast on your throwing arm. What happened?
Oh, it was a fluke play, and when 340 falls on you, bad things happen. So, similar situation backing up, but just not in uniform today.
But you did get some good news this week.
Yeah, it sounds like 3.5 weeks, so I should be back before the West Final.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
340, they said. They're talking about Fred Childress,
Right.
who really fell on the quarterback last week.
The program says 330. Dave Dickinson just gave him 10 more pounds, so.
Wiggins is the target, and he was tightly covered. Great defensive play by Jack Kellogg. That hung up a little bit, didn't it?
He almost had the interception.
No question about it, but another great play, #3 for the Calgary Stampeders.
Stamps are in time. Ready to begin the second quarter at McMahon in Calgary on an absolutely glorious afternoon.
Well, Edmonton Eskimos have to punt. Henry Newby on that last play was on a stunt up the middle. He was blocked up, and Jack Kellogg makes a real nice knockdown, and that's why the Eskimos are in the punt formation right now.
Eskimos are 3rd and 10 in punt formation.
Coleman is back along with Terry Vaughn. Fleming's last punt traveled 45 yards. This is high and fairly deep. Coleman won't have a play on it out near the 20-yard line at about the 18. A 50-yard punt, Garcia heading back into the fray.
49-yard kick for Sean Fleming and no return.
Check out the opening quarter stats here. What did you spot? 11 yards rushing for the Eskimos for starters.
Yeah, and this is a team led by Kay Stevenson that really wants to make a point of running the football. Now, when you have 2 fullbacks in the backfield like the Edmonton Eskimos are playing here this afternoon, it makes it a little bit tougher, but 11 yards, something Kay Stevenson would like to see move up a little bit.
Stampeders with the lead, first down. Kelvin Anderson at the first hole blocked. He has Garcia out in front blocking for him. Now there's a marker down. Anderson turned it into a nice gain of 17 yards, pending the penalty. The quarterback is out leading the charge.
It looks like Kelvin Anderson's having a little fun today.
Wasn't really a blocking assignment, but he was running interference out there.
Well, it wasn't a blocking assignment because the play was designed to go the opposite way, but because Kelvin Anderson didn't have anything at the point of attack, he bent it all the way back.
First down.
That's Aubrey Cummings, one of the Stampeders receivers. Caught there, so it'll be first down. Great crowd at McMahon today. This will officially set a new attendance record for a single season for the Calgary Stampeders. Anderson on first and 10.
32 on the carry. It's a gain of 4 yards.
You know, it's really not surprising that Calgary is having some success in the running game. When you look at the Edmonton Eskimos defense, and I think Eric Tillman alluded to it at the break, they're not very good against the run. In fact, only Saskatchewan has given up more yards per game against the run. So you know that when George Cortez and Wally Bono sat down to put together the game plan, they looked at the stats and saw that Edmonton was giving up 117 yards per game. along the ground, and they said, let's run the football.
On 2nd and 7, Garcia will put it up, looking deep for Pitts. Oh! Absolutely magnificent. On Rio Wells, take a bow, Allen. A one-handed catch in the end zone for the touchdown, and then this beauty. Standing ovation, no doubt about it. This guy deserves it.
Alan Pitts is once again putting on a clinic. There is Alan Pitts, and again, he's on Rio Wells. This time, Rio Wells is going to stay way back in his back pedal and then try and turn. Pitts has him by 2 yards. Now, it's an adjustment to the football, and again, he's got a layout and comes up with a catch.
First and 10, Calgary.
He is fun to watch unless you're Rio Wells.
Yes, backing up in the other secondary, it's not fun to watch him. Anderson is running hard this afternoon. He'll be close to another first down. Actually, plenty for the first down. He has 12 yards, and Willie Plass over to make the tackle. Very effective offensive game plan for the Stampeders today.
Yeah, and when you can go deep like that to Alan Pitts, you basically take your defensive backs from a defensive perspective out of the run game. Because now the DBs have to back up. They're worried about the deep pass, and they have no worry about the run game. That should open up things more for Calvin Anderson.
He's closing in on 100 yards already with 93.
Calvin Anderson.
Nice tackle by Dwayne Provo.
Brought down by the Eskimos, number 17.
Gain limited to 3.
Well, if things continue like this for Wally's Calgary Stampeders, we may see Henry Burris, who is now the second-team quarterback, sooner than later.
Wally was watching on Friday Night Football the other night, and we offered a few suggestions for his quarterbacking rotation today. He said he took a note. Yeah, took it under advisement, but I don't think he was really serious listening to exactly what we had.
He wrote down the note and then put his copy on it.
Marker in the backfield. Garcia looks to the end zone one more time, and he's got the touchdown. Travis Moore makes the catch, but there's a marker down.
There's a penalty marker in the Calgary backfield.
It's in the Calgary backfield, but boy, I was looking right after we talked about Wally Buono and his concern over Jeff Garcia being injured. Garcia took a big hit from Malcolm Frank as he delivered that football right in the knee area. Now, he's jumped up and hasn't limped at all, but that's the kind of hit that has got to worry Wally Buono. And when you throw in the penalty, touchdown doesn't count. Watch the hit. He's going to take right in the knee. Now, that's the kind of hit that put him out of the playoff game last year. It's a clean hit, don't get me wrong.
Back at the Eskimos.
But boy, you don't want your quarterback getting hit like that when he's your only guy.
Travis Moore will have to wait to celebrate his 7th touchdown reception of the season. And another penalty going against the Stampeders here. So Garcia looks at second and a whole bunch here.
Yeah, and the thinking offensively here is really just get what you can. Try and make up 10, 15 yards if possible and get your team in a little bit better field goal position because there's not many plays for second and this many.
Second and 22, you're right. Garcia sees an opening, throwing on the run, looks to the end zone, and a battle down there. Travis Moore was the target. Garcia wants a call.
Yeah,
He's not going to get it.
He wants it on Dwayne Provo. Provo was covered in the back of the end zone on Travis Moore. And Garcia is still talking to the officials about it. You know, and realistically, players don't honestly think that they're going to win that battle and have the official just, oh, I'm sorry, is that what you thought? Okay, I'll throw a flag. But why you do it is because you go down there and you're hoping that the next time it happens, you get that call.
Yeah, you're doing a little sell job. There's no doubt about that. And there was some contact there.
Been busy enough today. He'll hold for Mark McLaughlin. And a 39-yard field goal attempt.
It'll be spotted at the 39 for Mark McLaughlin. And he's on target. 33rd field goal of the season for Mark McLaughlin, hitting on 65%. Stampeders add 3 more. It's 11 for the Calgary Stampeders, 3 for the Edmonton Eskimos.
was born of royalty, crowned in glory, and has held court over some of the fiercest battles of all time. It has witnessed moments of greatness, noble men of courage undaunted in their quest for victory. It is a living testament to the spirit of our game.
Here's a nice story for Wally Buono and the Calgary Stampeders. They have beaten every team in the CFL in 1998. That has to make you feel pretty confident.
Well, now, wait a minute. Every team, did they beat Montreal back-to-back? I think Montreal is the only team that has beaten. Now, let me just check.
No, but they have won a game against Montreal.
I'm going to check you on that.
Okay,
one.
you check that. I found it in the notes somewhere. I thought, we'll check it out now. If you're questioning me.
No, well.
Marcus Dowdell. Marcus down on Dowdell's return, and so is he.
Great tackle.
Jason Clement.
Downfield, number 6, but there's going to be a blocking from the rear.
Jimmy Kemp has completed 2 of 7 for 13 yards in relief of David Archer.
Well, I talked about earlier the confidence problem that this team is having offensively. David Archer, of course, not getting the start today, and hopes that maybe taking him out of the lineup will take some of the pressure off this offense. They can just go out and play. They're starting to make adjustments, and David Archer will definitely help out being a pair of eyes on the sideline. But Jimmy Kemp wanted to get a quicker start to this game and try and get some momentum. That gets you your confidence back.
On first down, the Eskimos try C.J. Williams around the right side, and he's about halfway to the first down. All right, I'll back down here. They lost twice to Montreal.
Okay, I thought so. Okay.
The super stats guy, Dave Moyer, confirms you were correct.
Well,
they've beaten every team but Montreal.
There you go.
Okay.
And the one thing they have done is beat every team that they're going to see in the playoffs. I mean, we're not sure who they're going to see between Edmonton or the BC Lions, and they have beaten both of those teams. So
you got me. 2nd and 5, Edmonton, 9:12 to go till halftime. Kemp at the controls for the Eskimos, and he has the ex-Stampeder, Brian Wiggins, for a big first down out of the 25-yard line.
It's a gain of 9 yards. First down for the Eskimos.
Well, the one thing that Jimmy Kemp will provide this offense is a little bit more mobility than David Archer does. He gets out and runs a little bit more. He can scramble. He can buy himself some time. Really, Jimmy Kemp's only rushed for a couple hundred yards, but he averages about 9 yards a carry when he rushes. He has sneaky speed.
First and 10 at the 25.
After a big first down, the Eskimos are out at the 25-yard line. Tony Burse,
number
tough guy to bring down most of the time, and he ran into Bronzell Miller that time.
Number 96.
The gain limited to 4 yards.
Tony Burse really hasn't been able to shed the injury bug all season. He had a thumb injury early in the year. He had his hand in a cast. He's only played in 2 games. It was Labor Day right here in Calgary that Tony Burse returned to the lineup and then pulled his hamstring in the same game, and this is his first game back since then.
On the season, just 10 carries for 66 yards for Tony Burse. 2nd down. Kemp is hammered to the turf by Daryl Hall.
Daryl Hall came on a blitz. Sometimes you don't have to put a big bull rush or swim move or anything like that on an offensive lineman. Sometimes you can just give him a little deke. He's coming from the right side of your screen, and he's going to just make a little move and get to the outside, and then it's just a foot race to get there before Kemp can unload the football. Number 4 wins the race.
So Fleming is in again. 2 deep for the Stampeders, Vaughn and Coleman. Fleming standing back inside his 10-yard line. Lost the ball. Stampeders have it on a turnover at the 15. There are markers down. Roger Rhinson, 31, recovering the fumble by Sean Fleming. We'll check out the infraction.
Penalty marker down.
Reinson. Always dependable special teams player.
Penalty decline.
Turnover stands.
Sean Fleming has seen some pressure coming. Calgary's put some pressure on all of Sean Fleming's punts. In fact, he had a couple very nearly blocked early. Aldi Henry almost got there on a punt earlier in the game, and he took a little peek up before he really secured the football, and when he did that, it hit the turf.
Just like lifting your head in the middle of your backswing.
Exactly. It's the exact same thing. You lift your head and you do that little chili dip.
Chili dip. CFL Live on TSN. The Stampeders threatening to add to their lead. These numbers do not look good for the Edmonton Eskimos, and neither does this situation. After the turnover, the Calgary Stampeders are set up at the Edmonton 16-yard line. 1st and 10. Garcia is trapped, and Hunter wraps him up and drags him down. Melvin Hunter.
Benny Goods was the first guy there. Melvin Hunter, number 46, closed.
Well, Benny Goods was up around his feet, and Melvin Hunter was coming from the top. Melvin Hunter had to fight past the double team, Dwayne Ford and Kelvin Anderson, and he does that, gets up high, and had a little help from his friends Benny Goods underneath.
14th sack of the season for big Melvin Hunter. Lost a couple, make it 2nd and 13. Stampeders now back at the Eskimo 18.
2nd and 11.
Calgary on top, 11-3, 6:44 to go till halftime. Garcia looks for 6 more. He's got Pitts. Couldn't hang on this time, and I'm not sure he could have stayed in bounds either.
The ball was right where it had to be if you're Jeff Garcia. Had to be high and to the outside, so only Alan Pitts had a chance at it. You're going to see man-to-man coverage, and there goes Pitts. He's definitely open on the break again. I believe it was Rio Wells. He just can't come up with that one. It would have been close had he caught the ball, whether or not he could have brought his foot in. It looked like his knee touched the line, so you're probably right, John. I think he may have been out of bounds anyway.
McLaughlin having a perfect day. Hit his first from 39. Struggled a little bit, 32 of 49 on the season for McLaughlin, just 65% coming into this game.
To attempt a 25-yard field goal.
25-yarder. Kellogg puts it down, McLaughlin puts it up, and the Stampeders have smiles all around at McMahon Stadium. It's been a great season so far. The Stamps continue to roll. Jack Kellogg is having a nice afternoon in the backfield and holding on field goal tries for Mark McLaughlin.
Well, he's never done this. Jack Kellogg is going to be the holder with Dave Dickinson out of the lineup, and I got to give him one little coaching point. You see his hand right there?
You're going to tell him to get out of the way.
Well, I'm going to say, if you're going to be the holder, you better get that hand out of the way. That time, Mark McLaughlin barely missed it. But if Jack Kellogg doesn't pull it out of there a little further, he might get it right in the back of his hand.
Eskimos on 1st down. Kent going for a bundle here to Wiggins. Can't make the catch.
Kent looking deep for Donnie Blair, number 20. William Hampton, 21.
William
right
Hampton.
there with the coverage.
It was Don Blair, the intended target, I should say.
Well, Don Blair has complained about not seeing the football, and Hampton is right there, but Blair has a crack at it, and you got to come up with the catch to give your team some momentum. And Blair distracted him, or was distracted by Hampton, excuse me, but he had both hands on the ball and it slipped through his stomach. He had one last week versus the BC Lions, a very similar situation where it was slightly touched, and Blair had both hands on it and dropped that one as well.
2nd and 10 Eskimos. Blair to the near side this time. Kemp has Wiggins this time.
Number 80, Brian Wiggins with the catch.
And that'll be enough to move the sticks.
Number 91, and Jack Kellogg.
They needed 10, and that's exactly what Wiggins delivered.
Well, I have to talk about receivers trying to find the hole in the zone, and here's a good example of it, of Wiggins just going down and seeing that it's zone coverage and finding the hole. You see the drop by Newby. He's going to overrun that, turn around, find the hole, give his quarterback a target, and catch the football. So talk about find a hole. There it is right there.
Edmonton 1st down at the 45. C.J. Williams.
Nice tackle by Darrell Hall.
Stopped by Hall.
Number 33, C.J.
The gain limited to 9. So a much better sequence for the Eskimos here.
Yeah, I talked about earlier in the game C.J. Williams not being involved in the last 6 weeks, and that's been, of course, the problem weeks for Edmonton. In the first 10 games, C.J. Williams rushed 90 times, about 9 times a game for 32 yards a game. In the last 6, that dropped to 20 yards in the last 6 games.
This is 2nd and 2, Tony Burst, and he'll have the first down.
Eskimos has first down yardage.
I always thought the Edmonton Eskimos running game early in the year was effective because they had a dual threat with Troy Mills and C.J. Williams both carrying the ball equally. It made it tough on defenses, but like I mentioned in the stat in the last play, if you cut down C.J. Williams' production to basically 1 carry per game, the defense can key on Troy Mills. Of course, it changes it up a little bit this afternoon because they got 2 big fullbacks in there today.
Best drive of the afternoon for the Eskimos thus far. They're right across midfield. Nice fake by Jimmy Kemp. And he hooks up with his receiver. It's Wiggins again. And Wiggins is dropped inside the Calgary Stampeder 40-yard line by Greg Frere.
And Johnson, number 51.
How important is play action? I mean, when you got a running game, how important is play action? Watch Henry Newby come up like it's a run. He's going to fill the hole right there in the middle of your screen. He thinks it's run, then he says, whoop, it's pass, I got to get back. And there's Wiggins across the middle. You run that play action, you can hold those linebackers. It opens up some area.
Easily the best drive of the afternoon. A 17-yard pickup as the Eskimos inside the Calgary 40. Flags are down. Kemp can't find a target. Oh, it's a big hit going out of bounds. Henry Newby, number 91 on Jimmy Kemp.
There's the penalty marker down around the 30.
We'll check out the infraction.
Offside. Calgary 95. First down repeated.
Henry Newby said, I asked him how he was keeping in shape while he wasn't playing. He said, I was kickboxing. Well, that keeps you flexible. Listen to this hit on the sideline as Jimmy Kemp takes to the outside. He's going to get whacked.
Kemp is up and ready to roll. The penalty is against the Calgary Stampeders. We'll be back for an Eskimo first down right after this.
CFL Live on TSN is brought to you in part by Midas Car Care, the way it should be.
Jimmy Kemp at the controls for the Edmonton Eskimos, by far their most impressive drive this afternoon. 1st and 5 for Kay Stevenson's boys right now, in a game that they really want to win to lock up home field for the Western semifinal.
Yeah, very important game for them, and they really needed a drive like this. Now they need to capitalize by scoring and punching it in.
C.J. Williams, and there was absolutely nowhere to go for Williams there. Jeff Traversey
number 94.
limits him to no gain. In fact, a 2-yard loss.
The Calgary Stampeders are the best team in the league against the run. They give up less than 100 yards, and this is why. Team defense. They swarm the ball. Look at that. Team meeting around the running back. There's 8 of them. Ray Jacobs and Jeff Traversey led the way.
2 yards. It's 2nd and 7.
That was a team meeting.
35.
Marcus Dowdell.
Dowdell, number 6, makes the
nice
catch.
little run after the catch. He's inside the 30 for an 8-yard gain.
92, the first man to make contact.
Marcus Dowdell's played in 3 games. He's got 283 yards. If you were to project that and say that what would have happened if Marcus Dowdell played in all 16 games, Marcus Dowdell would be on pace for a 1,600-yard season.
Those are nice numbers.
Well, they may have found one here in Marcus Dowdell.
They've been looking for receivers in Edmonton. It hasn't been an easy time. There's been a lot of guys who would like to catch the football rolling through town. First down, Edmonton. Little confusion in the backfield for Kemp. Now he looks to the end zone. And he's got the touchdown. Shannon Myers, something at last for the Eskimos. Jimmy Kemp hung in to fire a 27-yard touchdown to Shannon Myers.
Well, there's two parts to this play. First of all, it's great composure from Jimmy Kemp, because when he went to do play action, I believe it was Tony Burse, he got all crossed up. He almost fell over, but he kept his composure, looked down the field, and found Shannon Myers, and Jack Kellogg made a mistake. He looked at the football way too long and let Myers get in behind him. When you're covering a deep pass from a defensive back point of view, if you get beat deep, you got to turn and find the guy first and then look back to the ball. That time, Jack Kellogg, who's having a great game and a tremendous year, just made a mistake and looked at the ball too long.
Eskimos inch a little closer in a game much more important to Edmonton than to Calgary here. Shannon Myers has his second touchdown reception of the season, 27 yards from Jimmy Kemp.
There's Shannon Myers, there's Jack Kellogg. Now watch what happens. He's going to be in the bump coverage. Now he's beat. Right about now he starts looking back. He's trying to find the football. When you try and find the football that early, you can't find the receiver, and Shannon Myers runs under it. Had Jack Kellogg went and looked up Shannon Myers first and then peeked back at the last second, he might have had a chance. But he'll tell you, he's a veteran in his fourth season, that was just a mistake in judgment.
Smiles at the Eskimo bench. At last, a very slow start for the Eskimos again here until that last drive that began back at the 35 after giving up a field goal to the Calgary Stampeders. Stamps on top by 4. It's 14-10 at McMahon, and what a glorious afternoon. Hard to believe we're nearing the end of October.
It is. It's been amazing when you talk about kind of weather we've had. It should be snowing here in Calgary, but they have a beautiful day and a huge crowd. You mentioned a record-setting crowd for this team.
Sean Fleming down to Coleman at the 5. Nice run for Marvin Coleman. He's all the way up to the 39. Chris Hardy made the tackle. 34 on the return.
Still there by Chris Hardy, number 8.
Shannon Myers, well, second touchdown of the year.
That is a huge drive and a big touchdown by Shannon Myers, because we mentioned how much this team has lost confidence offensively. All you need is 1 or 2 drives back-to-back, just like that one, and you can get confidence back in a hurry.
Garcia will try and respond. Calvin Anderson has had to ad-lib his way around that backfield a couple of times. It didn't work there. Wrapped up by Benny Goods for a 6-yard loss.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you can get away with it, but more times than not, if you reverse your field, he's going to come this way and then all the way back to the opposite side. When you reverse your field, more times than not, pursuit's going to catch up with you. Now, Calvin Anderson has had success one time in this game, but this Edmonton defense is going to start swarming, and pretty soon you start messing around like that, you're going to get caught.
Second and a whole bunch for Garcia, standing in to fire one for Pitts, who got both hands on it and couldn't quite bring it down. Rio Wells was with Alan Pitts there. Pitts thinks he should have made the catch.
Well, I think he was a little surprised that he got the ball when he did. I think Jeff Garcia threw it a little before he wanted to, because he made a little outside move back to the inside. He had his man beat. Again, it was Rio Wells, but that ball was thrown a little earlier. I think that Pitts was ready for it, and he just couldn't get his hands around in time. Jeff Garcia was being pressured by Benny Goods, and I think he threw it just a little early.
Stampeders on top of the Eskimos, 14-10. It's the final installment of the 1998 Battle of Alberta, at least for the regular season.
Hands.
Martino sails one deep. Brian Wiggins returning for Edmonton, and he got maybe a yard. Great special teams coverage
Number 4
by Darrell Hall and Roger Reinson.
On the kick for Tony Martino, and 3 on the return.
Jimmy Kemp with a great drive to get the Eskimos into the end zone for the first time this afternoon. The last time he had his hands on the football. He didn't start all that well, but now he's completed 7 of 13 for 84 and the 27-yard touchdown.
Now, he puts together another drive, gets the back-to-back drives, comes up with a 17-14 lead at the end of this thing, and all of a sudden, this team is confident again offensively.
Exactly what I was thinking. The confidence comes back in a hurry, even if they come away with a field goal at the end of this drive with 1:06 to go until halftime. Kemp may not get it away. Markers are down as Kemp ducked under two Calgary Stampeder defenders who collided over top. And there's a flag down inside the 30.
Well, this is
face masking, perhaps.
Yeah, this is the element that Jimmy Kemp gives you that David Archer perhaps doesn't. He's got some sneaky speed to the outside, but I think when he went to stiff arm the defender, he got his hand in the face mask, and Jimmy Kemp's going to get a penalty on the play.
Luckily, Kemp ducked under two Stampeder tacklers.
Major foul, face mask, Edmonton number 15. Second down.
Quarterbacks don't get fingered for this very often.
Good speed to the outside. He's trying to stiff arm Ray Jacobs, and you can see him grab the face mask, kind of push him down a little bit, then get to the outside. He avoids the hit there as Alonzo Johnson hits his own man, but Kemp gets nailed for the face mask, so he's got second in a bunch.
Second and 23 at the Edmonton 23.
David Archer on the sidelines watching Jimmy Kemp work. Kemp faked the handout. Now he'll just try and escape. Looked a little fluty-like on that play, I thought. 47 seconds till halftime. Miles was there. That's Jermaine Miles. Newby was in the neighborhood as well.
Well, Jimmy Kemp's really showing some quick feet to get away from pressure because he's had a bunch of it. There was Jermaine Miles had a shot at him. He used good speed to get to the outside. Guys are flying around. Henry Newby's coming in there. Alonzo Johnson flies right over the pile. Pretty good feet just to stay alive for a little bit there for Jimmy Kemp, but he can't find a receiver open downfield, which was a problem for David Archer over the last 6 weeks as well.
Did you see a late hit there?
Well,
no. The defender try and go over top.
It was close, but I think as long as you don't put your helmet right in the guy's back or something, you're okay. And Alonzo Johnson kind of flew over Kemp on that play.
Fleming is in.
At the Eskimo 22.
He had problems in this area of the football field before when he bobbled the snap and the Stampeders took over. Calgary on top of Edmonton, 14-10. Coleman is deep for Calgary. Back near his 40.
Hands, gentlemen.
Coleman moves up. He's at the 50 and to midfield with 38 seconds. So on the exchange, Calgary has an opportunity for a field goal here with 38 seconds remaining. Hang with us at the half. The boys are ready. CFL Live will continue at halftime with lots to talk about, including a wonderful day for Michael Pringle once more, over 2,000 yards in this season of his.
Really is amazing. Canadian Football League that a running back can get 2,000 yards. I mean, this is a passing game. It's basically a 60-40 split at least. Sometimes it's 70-30 split, pass versus run. And Pringle's just 2,000 yards is amazing.
Garcia first down. Trying to get in field goal range, and he almost does it with that pass. Travis Moore down inside the 40.
It's a gain of 16 yards. First down.
16, maybe 17 yards on the play.
Travis Moore has learned to play against zone defense. He's always been good against man-to-man. But now he's also learning how to find the holes, and he did on that play.
Garcia is wrapped up, and he got it away. Somehow, one hopper to Vince Danielson back in the lineup for the Stampeders for the first time in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I don't think he had any intention of trying to complete that kind of pass. No. I think he's just trying to
he just tried to
save the loss.
Save the loss, absolutely.
You know, the downside if you're a Calgary fan or a Calgary head coach like Wally Buono, he took a hit. But he's up, it's fine.
He's a tough customer, there's no doubt about it, but Wally cringes on the sidelines this time of the year.
Or bites his nails.
Yeah, absolutely right. 2nd and 10. Garcia looked way too deep, hoping that Travis Moore would break a little more quickly on the football, and he didn't react quite as quickly, but he was wide open.
He was. He got open late. This is, again, how pressure can help you up. See, Jeff Garcia gets a little bit of pressure up the middle. He has to step up, but look how wide open Travis Moore is in behind. There's Moore in behind Reed. And Stewart, I mean, he is wide open in the back. Excuse me, that was Pless. Just can't catch up with that football.
Mark McLaughlin in one more time. Perfect afternoon, 2 for 2 from around the 40 and the 25.
Mark McLaughlin attempting a 45-yard field goal.
You're watching technique here on the holder.
I'm watching.
Jack Kellogg will spot it at the 45. Get the hand out of the way. Mark McLaughlin is wide on this one with 7 seconds on the clock. Don Blair tries to kick it out, and he rolls it out at the 1-yard line. Well, could have been a little dangerous.
Yeah, but he's just punting the football away. Calgary gets the football back for one play and 1 second left on the clock on the 1-yard line. And Don Blair is getting an earful from Willie Pless because of it.
Brain cramp.
Well, he punted it out. It's first down Calgary on the 1-yard line with 1 second left on the clock. If you're going to punt it out, it has to be zeros on the clock. If not, you have to run around until you kill it and then try and kick it out. If not, you take it out yourself. Don Blair kicked it too soon. It went out with 1 second left on the clock, and now Calgary has a golden opportunity.
One chance at it from the 1-yard line.
Well, Wally Buono just got a gift handed right to him.
Is he watching the clock as he's doing this? This is part of the question here.
Well, he catches the ball. Now he's running around. He's got to be looking at the clock and thinking, okay, I'm going to get caught. I don't want to give up a signal. I'll kick it out of bounds. He had to wait 1 more second. Whistle blew, and you see the clock in the background right there. It had 3, and the official time clock is down to 1.
So one crack at it from the 1-yard line, and Blair's in the doghouse.
Oh, boy. Well, that's Scott Fawcett, the special teams coach, and, you know, that's a crucial mental error. And coaches will also always tell you that we'll live with physical errors because you're going to get beat every now and then, but it's the mental errors that are tough to live with, and that's a big one.
Stampeders with an opportunity for another touchdown on the final play of the opening half. Anderson has been running brilliantly. And does he get to the end zone this time? No, the Eskimos defense comes up with the biggest play of the ball game. That takes an awful lot of heat off number 20.
That is a victory for the Edmonton Eskimos, no question about it, because Don Blair should go into the locker room at halftime and personally thank everyone in that Edmonton defense.
Now there's a penalty down there. Will they get another opportunity with time run out on the clock? Yes, there will be one more.
Oh, boy. Christmas came twice for Wally Buono.
That kind of a year for these Stampeders. It has
unreal.
Been a great, great season. 11 wins.
They come up with a big defensive stand, and a penalty gives Calgary one more crack.
Can't end the half on a penalty, so the Stampeders get one more opportunity.
Unreal.
Sleepless nights for this guy much of this season. It's been a tough year in Edmonton. So here we go again, barring penalty. This should be the last play of the opening half. And Dwayne Ford has the touchdown. Don Blair back in the doghouse.
Yeah. Well, he probably took a sigh of relief briefly when that Edmonton defense held Kelvin Anderson on the first crack. But he's got that sinking feeling again because Dwayne Ford just made him pay for that mental error.
And Karen Drake on board her horse Blue is roaming around McMahon Stadium to celebrate another Calgary Stampeder touchdown. What a great tradition that has been through the years. There's old Blue. One more for Calgary. More turmoil for the Edmonton Eskimos, who trail 21-10 at halftime on CFL Live. Halftime coming right up. Welcome back to McMahon. A lonely feeling for this guy, Don Blair, who cost the Eskimos a touchdown on the last play of the opening half.
Well, here it is right here. Don Blair catches this missed field goal now. He attempts to run it out. He sees he's not going to be able to and then kicks it, but the clock has not expired, and when it bounces out on the 1, it gives Calgary possession at the 1-yard line with 1 second left.
He should have given up the single point now.
He should have, because the difference between a 4-point lead and a 5-point lead, John, is irrelevant, so you're right, and that's the result. The Dwayne Ford touchdown, now they're down by a lot more.
Well, if that wasn't bad enough, the miscue, setting Calgary up at the 1-yard line, then the Eskimo penalty to give them another crack at it with time expired gave the Calgary Stampeders the margin they have at this point. Let's bring in Sherry Hargrave.
Okay, with me right now is Eskimo head coach Kay Stevenson. Kay, your thoughts on the first half of the game?
Well, we did some things well. We gave them something there at the end of the half we can't afford to do. But, hey, we're still in a ball game. We're going to play well. We're going to come out and play it hard. That's the way you got to do it.
What did you tell your team at halftime to get them back into the game, get the momentum going?
Well, we had to make some adjustments, and we had to get that done first and say, hey, you know, let's go out and play the game the way it's supposed to be played and get after it, period.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Wally Buono with a 21-10 halftime lead. He's had a wonderful run in Calgary through the 90s. Most successful coach in the CFL through that era. 7 times finishing in top spot in the CFL West. Here we go, second half underway. Brian Wiggins returning for the Eskimos. Has a lane up the side and is forced out near the 32 by Darryl Hall. 24 on the return after a 67-yard kickoff. How did Jimmy Kemp play in the first half in your estimation?
When you compare the numbers, they're not that far off. Jimmy Kemp got most of those 84 yards in one drive, and that resulted in that one touchdown that he has right there on the board. So Jimmy Kemp moved the ball a little bit, but he's not getting a whole lot of help in my estimation from his receiving core. They need to work a little bit harder to try and get open. He's got time initially, but he can't find guys open. That's why he struggled a little bit.
From the 32, Eskimos 1st and 10. Nice play action fake by Kemp near side. He's got a target, and Blair can't bring it down. Hampton delivering a pretty good hit on Blair in the air.
Well, Hampton had lots of time to recover because that is a 60-yard throw for Jimmy Kemp. He rolls outside the far hash, throws this one all the way across the field to Don Blair, who once again had both hands on it and didn't come up with a catch.
It would have been a spectacular catch.
Yeah, it would have been a tough one when you get in the helmet in the back, but
some of those catches are definitely made. Kemp on 2nd and 10 over the middle, and he'll get a first down. Right back to Blair. There are markers down in the Eskimo backfield.
Well, to Jimmy Kemp's credit, he came right back to Don Blair to try and give him some confidence.
Holding, Edmonton 55.
But it's been that kind of year for Edmonton. At least that kind of 6 games. Thomas Rayham getting called there on the holding. When they do have something positive happen for him offensively, it comes back due to penalties. It's been a bit of a problem for Edmonton, the penalty situation of late. In the first 10 games, they were averaging about 56 yards a game in penalties. In the last 6, that's jumped up to 82 yards a game.
Kemp looks at 2nd and 20 now.
2nd and 20 for the Eskimos.
Back at the Eskimo 22. Kemp won't get away. Took a big hit down there trying to escape. Anderson, number 92, laying it on Jimmy Kemp.
It's a loss of 2, 3rd and 22 for the Eskimos.
Well, Steve Anderson kept working from the outside, number 92 to the left of your screen. And there was a lane, but not for long. That was a solid hit. You know, when both players' feet are planted in the turf and you just get that solid contact, that's as hard as you can get hit.
Coleman is deep for the Stampeders, back at his 40-yard line. Awaiting this Sean Fleming punt. He's standing at his 5. High snap, he pulls it down and hits it high. Coleman up at the 50. Away from the first, and a nice return for Marvin Coleman all the way back to the 40-yard line. It was Chris Hardy making the tackle, but another flag down on the Stampeders' return.
40 yards on the kick. Chris Hardy, number 8.
No yards. Edmonton, number 8. Penalties declined. First down.
Chris Hardy gets called for no yards, so the return will count for Marvin Coleman. And it's not been as good a year as Marvin Coleman has had in the past returning the football, but does get a nice one here, finds a little bit of room up the middle, and the guy who got caught on the no yards hustled back to make the tackle.
20-yard return setting Calgary up at the 40-yard line. Calvin Anderson for only a couple this time, pushed back by Willie Pless and Rio Wells.
Well, we know with Jeff Garcia back in the football game to start the second half that 11 points is not enough for Wally Buono. He's going to leave the starters in there, Calvin Anderson, Jeff Garcia, and he wants to get more of a cushion. Calvin Anderson already working on a 100-yard day here this afternoon.
The outcome of this game obviously not very important to the Stampeders with first place already clinched, but you can't take a holiday with 2 weeks to go in the season.
No.
Garcia. Cummings says he made the catch, but number 36 says otherwise.
And Melvin Hunter hit Garcia late, so they're going to get the first down out of this anyway.
First down.
Here's the hit on Garcia. He throws a football. 1, 2, 3 steps from Melvin Hunter.
So it continues to turn sour for the Eskimos.
Well, you know, the good news for Wally is he got the penalty in the first down. The bad news is his quarterback got hit one more time.
1st and 10, Stampeders at the Eskimo 23.
And Garcia got it away in plenty of time. 21-10. Stamps on top of the Eskimos. First down. Calvin Anderson broke 1. Broke 2, and he's down to the 6-yard line. What a great afternoon for Calvin Anderson. Another 17 yards.
Well, he's getting a lot of help from the big boys up front. Little jab step, and then he's coming to the left. And guess what side that is again? Fred Childress, a good block. Nice block there, and the lane opens up right here for Calvin Anderson to break up. He got a nice one there from McNeil, and away he goes.
That puts Anderson over 100 on first down here. Tougher running against the Eskimo front 4. Brown and Goods in the middle. Couple of big gains, including that 17-yarder.
Over 100 yards again for Calvin Anderson, and when he's clicking, the Calgary Stampeders are winning. I talked about the games that they have won and how big a factor he has been. Well, when they win, he touches the ball close to 20 times. In their losses, that number dropped to about 14 or 13, and that's why the difference is there.
2nd and goal to go from the 5, and there's the touchdown. Travis Moore, number 83. He had one called back earlier. Garcia right on the money, and here comes Old Blue one more time.
Well, it's a great throw by Garcia because he's backing up. He really doesn't have a lot of chance to set up, and he has to throw it over the crossbar and then get it to Travis Moore. So it was a bit of a tricky throw for Jeff Garcia. And
he had to thread the needle, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, you know, and these guys play that game the day before practice where they line up about 30 yards out and they try and hit the crossbar, and they bet a little bit here and there, I suppose, but certainly didn't want to do it on that play.
McLaughlin adds one more. So Coleman sets it up with a nice return. Penalties come into play, and Travis Moore has his 7th touchdown of 1998. Travis Moore is back. He missed 3 games. He has his 7th touchdown of the season, and the Calgary Stampeders are walking away from the Eskimos at this stage of things with an 18-point lead.
We'll talk about key guys in the offense, and I like to look at this comparisons. The 11 wins for Calgary Stampeders, he's averaged around 70 yards a game, and when they lose, it's cut in half to about 31. He's an important part of the offense as well.
Here's Marcus Dowdell returning for the Eskimos. Runs into a traffic jam at the 25 after a 27-yard return. So Jimmy Kemp has fallen 18 points in arrears to the Calgary Stampeders. The importance of the game to the Eskimos is to steal up second spot in the CFL West and guarantee home field advantage for the Western Final against the BC Lions.
Well, you got to wonder, Kay Stevenson, if he goes back to David Archer. If Jimmy Kemp can't get something going right away here.
C.J. Williams, number 3.
C.J. Williams.
Daryl Hall.
Nice run 4, inside. Out across the 35 to about the 36-yard line. KB8 at 2nd and 2, Edmonton.
Kay Stevenson calls all the plays for his quarterbacks, and I've mentioned a couple times throughout the season that with a guy like David Archer, you'd think that sometimes he would get the reins. And I remember talking to them when they were in Sacramento, and Archer did call his own plays back then a little bit. He hasn't this year at all.
Willie Burse on 2nd and 2, and he's wrapped up. Extra effort might get him close to the first down. This will be interesting where they spot the ball.
Well, we've talked about this in this football game. The Calgary Stampeders are the best against the run because they gang tackle. They are all over the place. Great pursuit angles. Henry Newby's fighting off his block, plugging the hole, and then the guys around him are just rallying. Daryl Hall's involved. DBs are all around. I mean, that's when it's fun to play. Right now, Newby's leading the way up front.
There was a team meeting around Tony Burse, and he came up that short.
Signed as a free agent on October 8th. It was originally with the BC Lions back in 1994 when he broke into the Canadian Football League, and has been sitting around all year waiting for the opportunity to play. And he said to me today, he will not let this opportunity slip through his fingers.
He's been mentioned a time or two today. I think he's had a pretty fair ball game in the middle. You might as well go for this on 3rd and inches. Eskimos trying to get across the 37, and Kemp is straightened up. There'll be forward momentum, and that's enough for the first down.
Yeah, they'll give him his forward progress, and they're moving the sticks right now. So that's the other quarterback in the scenarios for the Edmonton Eskimos, Marcus Crandall. And anyone who's ever talked about Marcus Crandall says he has got all the tools. Now, the tradition in Edmonton has been throughout the past that you never just throw in a young quarterback before his time.
1st and 10 at the 39.
But I wonder if by the end of the season we may not even see him.
Possibility, I suppose. Here's Kemp on 1st down, and he's sandwiched. A meeting at the quarterback, Miles and Jacobs.
You know, we talk about the quarterback, and David Archer's been under a tremendous amount of pressure the last 6 games. Jimmy Kemp has been under the gun here this afternoon. Right now, the Calgary defensive linemen are pinning their ears back.
Archer was sacked 5 times last week by the BC Lions.
Yeah, and this is not the quarterback's fault. I mean, Jimmy Kemp had no time to look down the field, get any reads, set up and throw the football. Henry Newby's leading the way, getting good pressure up front from Steve Anderson and Bronzell Miller, and it's making it tough and a long day for Kemp.
Loss of 2, 2nd and 12 for Kemp now.
Yeah.
And there was no opportunity to get it away. Daryl Hall. 2nd sack for Hall today.
Well, first of all, this pocket collapses around Jimmy Kemp, and it's very difficult for a quarterback to look down the field. Watch how the pocket will just collapse. Ray Jacobs taking on 3 guys in the middle, and Kemp can't even see down the field, and that allows Daryl Hall to come from the outside and get the sack. That was a great push by Ray Jacobs, number 84, right up the middle on 3 offensive linemen to collapse the pocket around Jimmy Kemp.
Stampeders have made it into the Eskimo backfield for 3 sacks so far today. Vaughn drops deep. Fleming standing at his own 16-yard line. Another high one. Well covered by the Eskimos special teamers down there. Diebert made the tackle along with help from C.J. Williams. Eskimos in trouble at McMahon this afternoon.
44 yards on the kick.
Well, Pumpkinhead made it to McMahon Stadium this afternoon. Can you imagine how bad it must smell under that lid?
Well, if you're not good, the devil will turn your head into a pumpkin.
Let's bring in Sherry Hargrave.
That's such a nice thought. Thanks, John. With me right now is Bob Garcia, Jeff Garcia's dad, all the way up here from sunny California. Tell me, what do you think of your son's continued success so far?
It doesn't surprise me. Seems like every time I come up, they win every game. I think in the 5 years I've been up here, they've only lost about 3 games. So maybe I should move up here during the season.
I say so. You're up here for a very special occasion, I hear.
It definitely. It's a dream that we've talked about for 4 years. And it's the grand opening of the Garcia's restaurant, authentic Mexican food. And the way it started, I had some players that played for me from Canada. And every time I'd come here, they'd say, "Coach, we miss the tacos and the burritos." So we thought, why not do it?
Super. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming up.
All right.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you. Bye.
Back to you guys.
Drop by and meet Jeff there, I'm sure. 2nd and 5 for Garcia and the Calgary Stampeders. He's still firing, has Dwayne Ford. And Ford broke the tackle to get the first down. Looked like he was all wrapped up. And he broke away. Marker down on the field, however.
Rocco Romano flew over the pile and hit Provo right in the middle of the back. And I'm not sure if...
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Calgary 59. After the play, first down.
Exactly, and that's the penalty. That's going to nullify the great second effort by Dwayne Ford. See 59 coming across, and he'll put his helmet right in the middle of Dwayne Provo's back after the fact. It's a very good call by the officials, and cost Calgary some yardage.
6:27 to go, third quarter. Stamps all over the Eskimos thus far. It's 28-10. Garcia remains at the controls for the Calgary Stampeders. And looking at 1st and 10 at the 31. Kelvin Anderson for a couple. Well, maybe just 1 yard. It was tough running inside.
Well, I wonder if Mr. Garcia on the sideline is wondering when his son may come out of this football game, because, you know, with a 28-10 lead in a game that doesn't mean anything to you in the standings, you have one backup quarterback with a cast on his arm, the other one's still in the game. You know, it's getting to that moment where you got to start to think that maybe Henry Burris should be out there taking some snaps.
I'm sure before long we'll see that. Here's Garcia now taking off and sliding safely after picking up the first down out across the 40 to about the 43. Burris will get an opportunity. At least that's what we were led to believe by Wally Buono prior to the game.
Well, the other thought there, John, is that Henry Burris has really thrown like 2 passes. There it is. 2 completions.
He's thrown 4.
Yeah, 2 completions, 4 attempts. I stand corrected. And, you know, when you haven't been in there and taken too many snaps, I mean, the Calgary Stampeders may need him if something should happen to Garcia in the first quarter of their playoff game.
Kelvin Anderson having a fine afternoon.
Across the 45-yard line.
Busiest of all the Stampeders, no question about that.
You know, so, you know, just to go back to that Burris side, if you play Henry Burris now, you know, he's not going to learn a whole lot in a game and a half that they have left in the regular season, but he will take some snaps under fire. Gives him a little bit of experience. So not only are you protecting your starter by putting him in, but you're also giving him a little bit of experience in there.
Garcia looking at 2nd and 6, a little play action fake. The charge was on. He has Alan Pitts sneaking out, and he'll be stopped short of the first down around the 50, wrapped up by Dwayne Provo.
And this is another reason, and I just got to get back to this, because Jeff Garcia threw that little pass right there to Alan Pitts and then took off running to try and get a block. I mean,
it's the 2nd time he's led at least in an interference area.
That's right. I mean, this is the type of guy that Garcia is. I mean, he's a competitor. He is a fiery guy. I mean, you can't take that away. You can't tell him, stop running down the field. Don't look to block. We don't want you to block. You can't tell Jeff Garcia to play any differently.
And you can't tell Jeff Garcia not to run when he sees that opportunity.
That's right. And, you know, that's how you get hurt, running down the field like that.
On 3rd and 3, Martino is in. Had to recover a low snap. Dowdell for the Eskimos. Inside his 10. Slowed by the first man. Spun around by a couple more, and there's 1 yard on the return. Celebrating down there is Oldie Henry. It's been all the Stampeders here today. Jimmy Kemp couldn't get it done. 7 of 14, 84 yards. So David Archer is on the field for the Edmonton Eskimos. It'll be 1st and 10, Edmonton. Back at the 10-yard line, so Archer doesn't get much of a break in field position here. Archer looks deep. He has Wiggins. Big play, Edmonton.
David Archer and his quarterback.
Brian Wiggins has a whole bunch, and Archer really put this one on the line.
Well, and this is the play that he must have seen from the sidelines because they haven't run it all game. A little play action, naked bootleg to David Archer, something that Calgary would not expect him to run. Turns around and with authority, you remember, he put that one on the money with authority without warming up a whole lot on the sideline. David Archer's been standing on the sideline all game, so pretty good throw considering.
47 yards for the Eskimos. Now set up at the Stampeder 52-yard line. Edmonton down by 18. Play action fake by Archer, standing in. Blair can't make the catch. And he was looking for a flag there on the tight coverage by Eddie Davis.
Well, it looked like Don Blair went up with that with one hand. And I'm wondering if maybe Eddie Davis was holding the other hand.
Because holding hands is illegal in the CFL.
Well, he just sort of put one hand on it, and I don't think Eddie Davis was holding the other hand. I'm wondering why he didn't try and put 2 on it.
2nd and 10 from the 52.
2:47 to go in the 3rd quarter. Stamps on top, 28-10. 2nd and 10 for David Archer. And on his first sequence for the Eskimos, and he missed Tony Burse.
Archer throws it behind him, incomplete.
And Archer was behind the target.
Archer's fired up. I mean, he wants to come in and try and turn his
fortunes around, and the Eskimo fortunes around.
No question. I mean, he has had a rough one.
It has been a tough week. It has not been the way everyone thought it might be for David Archer returning to the Canadian Football League.
But what he mentioned to me in the tunnel before the game started was, you know what? We've got 2 games left in playoffs. And a lot can happen in that time, and I want to turn this thing around.
Coleman is back. Fleming at his 45 brings a high one down. Marvin Coleman, a little stutter step down there. Fooled a couple, but C.J. Williams makes the tackle. 17 yards on the return. There are markers down in the area of the return. And Henry Burris heads out in relief of Jeff Garcia.
Edmonton 23, 1st down.
So Wally heard us.
Wally was listening.
He was listening. Now, he said this coming into the game that we would see Henry Burris. In fact, he said even if the game is in question still, I might throw him in there for a series here or there, but this is a perfect situation for it. 28-10 the score. You got the nice, comfortable lead. Let Henry Burris get a few snaps.
And this doesn't necessarily mean, as you're pointing out, that it's the end of the afternoon for Jeff Garcia. We'll see how this goes with Burris. He has completed 2 of 4 passes in the CFL, and there's a strike there.
Well, it just went to 3 and 5.
Yeah. And he's not a dumb guy. Why not throw it to Alan Pitts? Because the guy's going to catch most of them.
Well, I like the call, too, because he's going to do play action. When a new quarterback comes in the game, he usually wants to hand the ball off first time he gets it just to get comfortable. But credit to Burris. He says, you know what I'll do? I'm going to run a little play action. And George Cortez says, well, if you want to run that, go ahead if you feel comfortable, and it worked for him.
12-yard gain, 1st down. Stampeders out now. Across the 45. Anderson. He has had a whale of a ball game. There's another Calgary first down, another 10 for Calvin Anderson, who is over 100 yards by quite a bit now. 20 carries, 132.
Not a huge day for Jeff Garcia when you look at 132 yards, but he has his team in a comfortable lead thanks to a Don Blair mistake just before the half. Got 7 there, and with a nice big lead, and your starting quarterback still healthy, why not?
Well, it wasn't quite a first down. It's 2nd and inches here. Kelvin Anderson.
Anderson, number 32, gets the carry again. The Eskimos.
And it looks like he'll have the first down. Benny Goods down there on the tackle. We'll check on the spot, though.
The first Eskimo to sniff that one out.
Well, Wally Buono's been in this situation a few times in the 90s, hasn't he? Where
He certainly has.
Had first place locked up in the division with a couple of games left to play, and he's trying to, always a balancing act between how much time your starters get, and, you know, it really is a limited roster, so you can't make too many substitutions.
Well, they didn't get the first down, so this is now 3rd and inches at midfield. And that's what they should have done on 2nd and inches, one would guess. Henry Burris gets the first down.
Garcia's like out by the numbers. I think he still wants to play. He's going, let me go do this one. Let me just go throw one more. They're going to have to tie Garcia to the bench.
Third quarter is over. The Calgary Stampeders still control things here at McMahon Stadium with a 28-10 lead on the Eskimos. Setting the attendance record in 1998, the all-time attendance record for number of fans in the stands, averaging 30,000 a game, 273,662 in 1998.
It's a remarkable story. I mean, their season ticket base is up by 1,500 people per game. Their attendance, like you mentioned, way up. There's great atmosphere in this building.
Calvin Anderson. He's to the 40-yard line. Stewart made the tackle. Chalk up another 14 for Anderson.
I mean, this is the key to the football operations part of it. Wally Buono taking care of things on the field. That's why this organization has turned around. And
Zig Gucci, the owner of this team, has done a marvelous job in the last 5 years as well to make this a first-class organization with a winning tradition. This has been terrific. And here's the guy who helps us every week, Ron Rook. He's the best.
He really is. I mean, it's professional in this organization from top to bottom.
You gotta love Kelvin Anderson this afternoon. There's 15 more.
Well, this is the football operations part of it. Kelvin Anderson taking care of business on the field, and credit Wally Buono for building a team with great depth, building a team through the draft. You rarely see a rookie crack the lineup here in Calgary, and that's good news if you want stability and consistency out of your organization. Wally Buono, the best at it in the 90s, no question about it. And you talked about this organization, professional from top to bottom.
Another Stampeder first down. Burris stands in and fired a little too far. Terry Vaughn was the closest receiver, and he was at least 7 yards away.
Well, the way Kelvin Anderson is playing, I don't know why we just don't, the Calgary Stampeders, just don't give him the ball every time.
160 yards. And he's had some nice runs, including that longest march of the afternoon for 21. 14 and 15-yard carries in this particular sequence. And he has the Calgary Stampeders down at the Eskimo 25-yard line, second down from there. Burris uses the shotgun. Anderson was the target and took a big hit. He couldn't have held on to that.
It is incomplete.
Anderson was trying to find the football, and yeah, Don Wilson had his sights set on Anderson. He's in charge of coverage on the play. He's to the left of your screen, number 25. He sniffs this one out. This is a veteran. He's seen this play a few times. Not his first rodeo. And he came up and gave Calvin Anderson a bit of a rough ride.
Don Wilson, 61 career interceptions in his years in the Canadian Football League. He's had a nice run. Speaking of running, Kelvin has done that well this afternoon. Stampeders will settle for a Mark McLaughlin field goal. Kellogg will put it down. On the 32, Mark McLaughlin good on 2 of 3, make that 3 of 4. So it makes it a little more difficult for the Eskimos to come back. They're down 31-10 at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Numbers on the board here and now. What are you doing?
Well, I'm going to change one here.
No, but that's after 3 quarters.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, okay. So
now,
he's added 30 yards in the fourth.
Well, that's a 1.
Time of possession. Stampeders lead it there by about 4 minutes. The Eskimos have come back a little bit in that area. Now they have to come back on the scoreboard. Archer to Dowdell. He makes the catch. It'll be a first down. Marvin Coleman made the tackle. 11 yards the gain.
Number 17 with the coverage, a gain of 11.
Well, it's been tough on David Archer, especially when he's playing at home. Last week versus BC, David Archer was basically booed every time he threw the football, and that's tough, but he told me before the game that he's got to look past that, stay focused, and he'd like to get out here and prove some things this afternoon.
Archer on target again. He has Myers, or Wiggins rather. Brian Wiggins,
number 80.
Number 80, and he's down to the 45.
And you know, when you think, sorry, John, when you think about David Archer, over the last 5 weeks, those numbers aren't that bad. I mean, he's close to 300 yards in most of those games. He's got 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. The numbers aren't that bad, but this is a quarterback that's been sacked 47 times this year.
Now Archer may take off. He takes a big hit. It has it almost picked off by Jack Kellogg. A couple of Stampeders met at the quarterback.
Well, this is the problem. You get tacked 47 times. Archer has time to throw the football. He's going to get hit as he delivers it, but he was back in that pocket for a while. No one was open downfield. Started to move up, look for a guy, and even when he delivered the ball, no one was open. Jack Kellogg was closer to catching that than anybody in an Eskimo jersey.
Second and 10 at the 45.
Second down and 10 to go. Eskimos at the Stampeder 45, trailing 31-10. Archer over the middle, and he has Shannon Myers with a marker down in the Calgary secondary. Should be enough for the first down if the penalty is against the Stampeders.
Well, they're walking that way.
Illegal contact on an eligible receiver. Calgary 51. Penalties declined. First down.
Talk about guys having good seasons. Alondra Johnson.
Should get some votes for the outstanding defensive player in the CFL West this year. He has had a terrific year as usual. Alondra has made the big plays once more. Archer first down. Miscommunication.
Intended for number 88, Shannon Myers. It's incomplete.
Well, you know, it always seems to be between Alondra Johnson and Willie Pless for who will be the Western representative for the defensive player. Willie Pless, of course, won it last year. And when you look at those numbers, Willie Pless, again, is the front runner, but the numbers don't always tell the story. This is a Calgary defense that leads the league against the run, is second in the league against the pass, and it's anchored for that guy, number 51. So you got to look at the team stats as well.
You're absolutely correct there. Archer's surrounded and smothered. Darryl Hall was there, along with Steve Anderson. And Jermaine Miles. Archer didn't have a chance.
Well, it doesn't matter if you're Jimmy Kemp, David Archer, Steve Young, or Warren Moon. If you don't get time in the pocket, you're not going to have any success as a quarterback.
Archer was decked 5 times last week by the BC Lions. Stampeders have 4 quarterback sacks here this afternoon. Sean Fleming has made 1 from 35. This attempt from 47. Smooth. And the Eskimos get 3 back. But it's a long way to catch up to the Calgary Stampeders, 31-13. You're watching the CFL live from McMahon Stadium, Calgary. story to this point of this fine football afternoon in Calgary.
Big star beside Calvin Anderson fame. Pretty good day.
And Alan Pitts has his 100th touchdown catch. Anderson got the call again and escaped again. Did a heck of a job to get back and over the line of scrimmage.
I wonder if Calvin Anderson will get a little bonus from his owner. Yeah, stays like this, he might want to go and ask him.
Sid Gucci has, as we talked about a little earlier, done a wonderful job since taking over this team. He's put fans in the stands here. And football has been fun in Calgary for the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, and this is a guy who competes against the NHL at some point in the year. I mean, this is a big-time city when you talk about the entertainment dollar, much like Toronto or Vancouver. So he's had to battle some competition and done a real nice job.
2nd and 8. This is Henry Burris at the controls, and he's wrapped up. Willie Pless.
Willie Pless, number 39,
charging in on Henry Burris there. We're talking about Willie winning the Defensive Player of the Year award last year.
Well, yeah, and Willie must have heard us because he said, wait a minute, don't rule me out just yet. I've got some pretty good quickness. I can beat Fred Childress, one of the best to the outside, and catch Henry Burris. Just want to make one more point, you know.
Yeah. Winning last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. Stop me when I get to 5. 5 times in a row. Lost substantial, 3rd and 17. Martino standing back at his 14-yard line. Low driving kick, Dowdell across the 35 to about the 42-yard line. Ryanson is there, number 31, with a little help from Aldi Henry.
You know, when you look at the special teams for Edmonton, to me, this is part of the reason that they haven't had the success they want in the last 6 games. You look at this stat right here. Gizmo Williams played in the first 10 games of the season, and they were averaging 56 yards per game in punt return. In the last 6, it's dropped to 15 yards. 36 of those 56 came from Henry Williams. He is a threat. He has been out of the lineup for 6 weeks now.
A healthy stretch. He is on the sidelines for the 6th week in a row. Archer on 1st down, pumps once, now looks deep, and Dowdell couldn't catch up with it.
Comes down as Archer throws incomplete.
Another marker down. 8:07 to go. Final quarter here. The Eskimos want to win today to clinch 2nd spot, home field advantage for the CFL Western semifinal.
I mean, holding, Edmonton 55. Illegal contact on an eligible receiver, Calgary 21.
That's when, just to go back to that special teams point, Kay Stevenson has been under a lot of heat throughout the game, and Gizmo Williams has made the road trips. He'll be on the sideline for moral support, but it's a bigger factor when you just take the 36 yards per game out of the lineup. That's one thing, and that's big enough because that's 3 first downs, but he is also a leader on that team, and they have really missed that part of his game.
On 1st down, it's C.J. Williams making the catch. Nice toss from Archer.
C.J. Williams, number 33, takes the
forced
pass
out
and
by
gets out of bounds at the Calgary
safety Greg
42.
Frères. Gain is 26 yards, so this will keep this Eskimo drive rolling.
Well, David Archer now is really in 3-down football, and he's going to have to keep him in the no-huddle offense or the hurry-up offense for really the rest of this game. He's got to score in a hurry.
He needs 3 touchdowns to win. Eskimos are trailing by 18. And Archer got it for Tony Burke. Saved a little bit.
Henry Newby.
Newby made the tackle after about 3 yards.
You know, last week, David Archer went into the hurry-up versus the BC Lions, but every time he wanted a call, he had to look to the bench to Kay Stevenson, and it took a ton of time off the clock. It looks to me like right now, David Archer may be calling some of his own plays, and if that's happening, it's the first time this season that he's really had the reins.
Good point. Here's Archer, and he'll get the 1st down with that reception. Ryan Wiggins. Good catch.
You know, I think if you ask any quarterback, they will tell you, especially experienced quarterbacks like David Archer.
Those are great numbers in a hurry. 7 of 11, 129.
Yeah, and
He's been in the ball game about 5 minutes.
They love to get the reins. They love to be able to call their own plays because they get in a flow, and that's why Archer's numbers, like you just saw, are pretty impressive already.
From the 28, Dowdell.
David Archer passes
halfway to a first down with about 5 yards.
Out of bounds after a gain of about 5.
6:26 to go. Time ticking down on the Eskimos.
See, now he is definitely calling his own plays because he's not even looking to coach Kay Stevenson on the sideline, and he can set up formations the way he likes and get matchups the way he likes.
Archer to the end zone, and he just missed. Marcus Dowdell was the target, and Archer didn't miss by much.
And this is one of the formations he talked to me before the game about. He said, I'd like to try and get Marcus Dowdell into a one-on-one matchup on the backside if possible. He's a great man-to-man route runner. He comes across on the post and is open, but Archer just throws it a little bit too high. He can't come up with it. Missed him by inches, but it was the right read and the right call.
3rd and 5, and there's no option here for the Eskimos. They have to get a first down with 6:05 to go. Archer, look to Wiggins, or rather Blair, and a mix-up down there, I'd suggest, between quarterback and receiver. Kay Stevenson doesn't understand. The Eskimos turn it over on downs. 3rd and 5 was a failure there. Tough times for Kay Stevenson.
He wins it 42-37, keeping their hopes for second place alive. Earlier, Montreal beat Winnipeg. Mike Pringle hitting 2,000 yards. Let's get you back to Calgary.
Well, that's not good news for the Eskimos here, because that keeps the Lions alive in the race for second spot in the West. Henry Burris at the controls for Calgary, and Anderson had nowhere to go. Leroy Blue was in on the tackle there.
Well, the way Leroy Blue just hit Kelvin Anderson, you would think that he heard the score in the BC game.
Not a bad point.
Because if Calgary holds on to win this game, then that means Saskatchewan will play in Edmonton the last game of the season. Kay Stevenson will have to win this game to get the home field advantage in the playoffs.
And Calgary will play British Columbia in the final game for the Lions next weekend. So it'll come down to that, it would appear, when you look at the scoreboard here at McMahon Stadium. 31 for the Stampeders, 13 for the Eskimos.
Offside, Edmonton 46. Second down.
Malvin Hunter.
Well, you know, there's a lot of people maybe saying that this team is starting to get a little old on defense. I still think they have the ability to win with the guys they have on defense. But when you consider that the Edmonton Eskimos are averaging 83 plays per game defensively, which is about 23 more than you're used to, 23 more than you should have, makes for a long afternoon.
Second down. Burris makes contact.
Henry Burris.
Aubrey Cummings, number 87, has the catch, but he'll be short of the first down. Cavis Reed wrapped him up in a hurry.
Now you just look at that defensive front. We got Robert Brown with a little bit of youth, and Benny Goods, Blue, and Hunter. Those are the older guys on that front four for the Edmonton Eskimos. But 83 plays a game. That's every single game, and that's because your offense isn't sustaining drives. And your defense is on the field that long. I don't care if you're 34 or 24. That's going to tire you out by game 16, 17 in the regular season.
It was close enough to measure, and it will be a Stampeder first down. Calgary Stampeders have it all wrapped up in the CFL West. Top spot, home field for the Western Final. Here's the battle between Edmonton and BC. And right now, the Lions get even.
Now Edmonton has the season series, so it ends in a tie. Edmonton gets home field.
Henry Newby's pass is knocked down.
Malvin Hunter batting that one down.
They've jumped too high.
Well, Hamilton.
Incomplete.
has a bye into the Eastern Final on a superb season, capped off by a win over the Argonauts the other night. One more to go for the Tiger Cats, but they lock up top spot. We know Toronto will be at Montreal. What we don't know in the West is where that semifinal will be played, indoors or outdoors.
Yeah, and that's a big difference. In November.
That's right. Terry Vaughn, big first down, Calgary Stampeders.
Well, this is a chance for Henry Burris to just get a little playing time and maybe be evaluated by the coaching staff, the Calgary Stampeders, and they want to see how well does he throw the ball on the out. Step, plant, step up, nice spiral, get it to the outside, right on the money to Terry Vaughn. Not a bad throw from Henry Burris.
20 yards there, and that means Terry Vaughn is over 1,000 yards for the 4th straight season. And that is quite an accomplishment. He hasn't been the busiest of Calgary receivers this afternoon, but he's got his 1,000 yards. Burris has it picked up. Provo on the return. Pitts is chasing him. Flags are down. Provo down the sideline. And wisely stepped out with Drysdale lining him up and waiting for him. We'll check out the infraction back on the return. Burris threw that a long way, but right into the arms of Dwayne Provo.
Well, it was an ill-advised throw because there was pretty good coverage down the field, and he had just completed that out.
Unnecessary roughness. Calgary.
He had just completed the out to Terry Vaughn. A little pumped up and thought, hey, let's go for a deep one, and really didn't have much of an opportunity to complete that one.
Well, a little hope for the Eskimos here. The unnecessary roughness penalty and a great return on the interception. David Archer sets up at the 47-yard line. But Archer and the Eskimos need 3 touchdowns in the final 3 minutes to win and lock up the 2nd spot in the West. Tall order right here against the Stampeders. Shotgun. Archer to Burst. Big hit on Burst from behind. That might have helped him get the first down. It was Jason Clement.
You know what?
Number 34.
It's going to be interesting 3 minutes.
Number 95 takes us down.
31-13. This is CFL Live from McMahon. For the CFL and the recognition factor that he's brought the league since he went back down there. Terry Vaughn, as mentioned, over 1,000, and 4 straight years over 1,000. Even Alan Pitts hasn't done that for the Calgary Stampeders.
David Archer throws incomplete.
Myers was the target, and David Archer frustrated one more time.
Well, he's just missed guys by inches, and that's why he's frustrated, because it's the right read. Everything's there. The protection is there, and then he goes to throw the football, and he's just off by an inch or 2 and can't complete it, and this is where the frustration comes out.
That was 2nd and inches. This is 3rd down in inches. You knew he'd keep it himself, but there's a marker down. Archer should have the first down if this infraction isn't against Edmonton.
Well, the frustration builds when it's a 2nd and inches situation. You run play action. You might want to hit a big one in behind the coverage, and he didn't get that one. Calgary get this offside, so Edmonton will get the first down.
Talking about Terry Vaughn a moment ago, and I said even Alan Pitts hasn't gone over 1,000 yards in 4 straight years, although he's had some 1,000-yard seasons. Terry Vaughn has done it 4 times in a row, and Pitts has had some injury problems and missed it a couple of times along the way.
And that's the only reason he missed it.
You're right. First down, Edmonton, and that should be another one. Dowdell makes the catch on the line.
To Marcus Dowdell, number 6.
In front of Coleman for 14 yards.
Well, this is very important for the Edmonton Eskimos offense. Even if they don't win this game, which they likely won't, they need to build confidence. Kay Stevenson needs David Archer to get his game back, and he needs to get some continuity with the offense. So this is a very important remainder 2.5 minutes for this Edmonton offense.
Dowdell makes the catch at about the 12. The gain is 7 yards.
I talked to Leroy Blue before the game. He's talking about believing, believing in your teammates, believing in yourself. That's what it's about. You need to have that confidence and that belief factor in the system. And if Archer can put together a score here or maybe another score after this one, he'll start to get some belief happening with his unit, and then the defense will look at them and say, hey, we can score. So when they head into the playoffs, they're in a way better situation.
C.J. Williams couldn't bring it down. Roger Reinson was helping on the coverage along with Dave Van Bellingham. It'll be 3rd down and 4 to go. The Eskimos have to gamble again. 2:08 on the clock. Edmonton down by a bunch. It's 31-13.
Talk about inches. You mean C.J. Williams had that one in his hands. I mean, we talk about inches. How many? Don Blair's dropped 3. C.J. Williams drops a couple. Archer's missed a couple. It's been that close.
If there's any hope, they have to get a first down here. Wiggins made the catch, and there's a marker down far side of the field.
For a gain of 8.
Is that pretty much all you hear?
And a penalty marker's down to 10.
2:03 is not very much time to try and score 3 touchdowns. It is possible, of course, with a break or 2 here or there, but they really have to get on the end zone really quickly here, get an onside kick or something.
Offside, Calgary. Penalties decline.
Big
First
return,
down.
something like that to win this ball game.
Yeah, no question. Kay Stevenson, they score here quickly. We'll put the onside kick team in. Hope he can recover that. Put one more up on the board. And it's a long shot with the way they've been playing.
Archer on first down. Oh! Wiggins. Myers, rather. And there's a marker down. Again.
And another penalty marker.
Offside. Calgary 92. First down repeated.
Here it is again. This is the story of the game for the Edmonton offense, no matter who's playing quarterback for them. How close is this to a touchdown for David Archer to Shannon Myers?
Well, I'm not so sure that he shouldn't have been going to the receiver in behind.
Well, that's likely a mistake by one of the 2 receivers.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that close, but still, Shannon Myers had his hands on the football.
Mark Tober is number 31 and in behind. This is first down. On the penalty, Archer lost it. Dowdell goes up. He makes the catch, and they rule him out of bounds.
Did Coleman push him out?
I don't know. In the air, he was carried out, it would appear, and that, depending on how it looks in the replay, you can't push a receiver out of bounds in the end zone if he's in the air.
Well, last week, Sean Graham had a touchdown called back because of this. Did Coleman push him out? Now, what the ref has to determine there is, if Coleman is not around, does he come down straight inbound?
And I think his momentum might have carried him out there.
Yeah, I think it was a good call.
Second down and goal to go, Eskimos. Archer to his right, and he missed again. Myers was the target. And now it flips to 3rd down. What's important here, though, is it's taking too much time to get into the end zone. Now down to 1:49 on the clock.
Every second counts, no question, Jonathan. You know, David Archer wants to get in as quickly as possibly can, but the bottom line is you got to score.
And they were deep inside Calgary territory with 2:30 on the clock. Now it's 1:49 remaining. 3rd and goal to go. This is the ball game for the Eskimos. 3rd and goal to go, Stampeder 2. Archer has Dowdell. So there's 1. Marcus Dowdell, 2nd touchdown from David Archer in 1998.
This was the formation he talked to me about, getting Marcus Dowdell one-on-one on the backside, and David Archer was going to Dowdell from start to finish in this play. Looks to the backside. Dowdell got inside position on one of the best cornermen in the league, and Coleman comes up with a touchdown.
1:47 to go. Eskimos decide to look for 2. It's 31-19 on the scoreboard right now. Archer missed. Mark Tolbert's in as an extra receiver, and Hampton was covering. So 31-19.
And Hampton got his hands on that ball. That wasn't a drop that time by Tolbert. That was just a good defensive play by William Hampton.
The Calgary Stampeders and Amos
Archer put some numbers on the board during that drive. Unfortunately, he didn't get to the end zone quickly enough. 13 of 24, 174 yards, and he hasn't been in this ball game very long. Not much has gone right for the Eskimos. If you look at Archer putting those kind of numbers up from the start of the ball game, you're not as far behind as you were with Jimmy Kemp. And maybe they started the wrong quarterback. That's something that will undoubtedly be discussed somewhere along the way.
So you have just started a true quarterback controversy for the last game.
In reality, I think after last week they had to go to Jimmy Kemp in so many ways. But when they went to Kemp, and he had most of 3 quarters to get the job done and couldn't.
No.
Then maybe you can ask the question.
You make a good point. And you know what? With the way that David Archer has been treated at home, rightly or wrongly, I'm not siding either way on that maybe it is a good situation to start Jimmy Kemp back at home next week in Edmonton. See what he can do. If he does get on a roll, hey, good for the team. If he doesn't, David Archer comes into the ball game in a completely different scenario. So where the fans maybe are not quite as critical as number 18, and he has a chance to settle down and maybe get some things done. And the other thing is that when you have 2 quarterbacks on the bench, sometimes, you know, watching the first quarter from the bench isn't that bad of a deal.
Eskimos set up the short kickoff, put that team in, and then Fleming took it all the way down the other side of the field, and Danielson had to run back and knock it out at the 3-yard line. The formation was there with the entire team to the left side of the field. Fleming took it down to the 4-yard line. Now 1:46 to go. It's up to the defense to get it back for the Eskimo offense in a big hurry. Or better still, for Edmonton, get a turnover.
Well, they haven't been great in the turnover department. In fact, it's an Edmonton secondary that is second to last in the league in interceptions with just 14 on the season. Dwayne Provo leads the group. He now has 6 on the year.
Takeaway giveaway for the Eskimos is not very impressive either. It's -17.
But they need one now.
Up to the defense to get it back in a hurry or hit the end zone with it. Burris remains at quarterback. Kelvin Anderson remains running the football. The Eskimos string him up. He's forced out by Cavis Reed. Gain about 4 yards.
Cavis Reed, number 24, and Dwayne Stewart, number 36.
Well, Calvin Anderson really been the workhorse for the guys with the horse on their helmet.
He has earned his horse this afternoon, hasn't he?
His best game of the year was against Hamilton 2 weeks ago, where he had 167 yards, and he's very close to that this year. I mean, in this game with 165 yards, 21 his longest. 25 carries, that's 5 more than he usually gets.
There was movement down there, but no flags. And it's Kelvin Anderson again.
Calvin Anderson takes the handoff.
And this is where it's even more important to have Calvin Anderson on a roll when you're trying to burn up the last minute and a half of the game. You can keep it on the ground, the clock keeps ticking, and you don't have to throw the ball, because when you throw the ball, 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad if you're thinking of it from an offensive point of view, because you could have the interception or the incompletion. Those are the bad ones.
Yep.
The completion is your only good one, so you want to keep it on the ground in this situation if you can.
This is close enough to measure. And Kelvin Anderson has another first down, which might just about do it for the Eskimos. 1:35 on the clock. It's been Edmonton needing a miracle for some time now, but trailing by 12, they have to score 2 touchdowns to win and lock up second place. So it looks like that battle will come down to the final week of the seasons, with the Eskimos and the BC Lions fighting it out for home field.
I mean, that's the story. 24 first downs for Calgary in this game.
Anderson again. Just 1 that time, but it takes a little more time off the clock. 1:12 to go now.
Well, you know, that's when we talk about the quarterback situation in Edmonton. And, you know, whether or not they go with Archer or they go with Kemp, the bottom line is this is a team that has to figure out a system. You know, whether it be Kemp first and then Archer in relief or the other way around, they have to come up with a system, because, like you mentioned, John, with BC winning Edmonton losing, next week is very important to decide, obviously, where they play that playoff game. So this is why, even though, you know, they've lost this football game basically for the Edmonton Eskimos, they still want to get the ball back again and see if this is the best system for them, because they still have a chance to win it all.
Yes, the Eskimos have a playoff berth.
Exactly.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders don't. Neither do the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
That's right.
There is a playoff spot waiting for Edmonton. Kelvin Anderson spins off one. What a marvelous afternoon this guy has had. Kelvin Anderson might be a little short of the first down here, but he should have been stopped in his tracks in the backfield.
Well, we got to look at this again, because that was magic by Kelvin Anderson. I mean, how did he make Don Wilson and Leroy Blue miss? Look at them. They got him. How does he spins out of that one, and Don Wilson and Leroy Blue are like in a heap in the backfield, and Kelvin Anderson still running.
1:06 to go at McMahon Stadium. The Battle of Alberta has fizzled a little bit for the Edmonton Eskimos this season. They have lost here on Labor Day, lost the return match at Commonwealth Stadium, and lost again here this afternoon. When you look at this Edmonton Eskimos season, that Labor Day loss to the Stampeders really turned this whole year around. The Eskimos were sailing, or at least very close to Calgary in the race for first until that day.
Yeah.
Good pressure on Martino. He got it away. And this is Brian Wiggins returning for Edmonton with 39 seconds left on the clock.
Well, David Archer wants to come in right now and use up these 39 seconds and score another touchdown. They won't win, but it's important for the confidence of this offense.
Today's game ball is brought to you by Toyota Parts and Service, the one to trust. And let's hand it to this guy.
No question. 178 yards rushing, his best performance this year for the Calgary Stampeders. We've said it all year long, Kelvin Anderson is the key to their offense.
Glenn and I both thought the same way. The vote was unanimous today. Archer still firing and almost had that one picked off by Dave Van Bellingham with 35 seconds on the clock. Timing is not there for David Archer in so many ways. The season has really been a terrific disappointment for this guy personally.
You know, it's interesting, and you talk about how competitive David Archer is, because my conversation with him before the game, you know, he still has that look in his eye. He said, you know, it has just been a disaster, and I'll be the first to tell you. And you hear the disappointment in his voice, but then in a second he'll turn around and say, but you know what? We still have a playoff spot. We can still turn this thing around. And you don't have to win 12 games to win it all. History has proven that. You just need to get in, and they're in.
Do you think what we've seen from the Eskimos today, when they knew they really needed to win a football game, makes this football team confident about winning a playoff game?
I don't know that they're quite there yet. Yeah, I don't know that they're quite there yet, just because they've had too many drops. They still need some help up front with their offensive line. Protection has been a bit of a problem for Kay Stevenson, and when you get a chance to catch the ball, even if it's a tough catch in a big ball game, you got to come up with it. You know, Don Blair dropped a few. It's been that kind of game, and they need to get that next step.
31 seconds to go. It's 3rd down and 10. And it's over for the Eskimos at McMahon Stadium here today. David Archer looking for the first down, and he wasn't even close.
Incomplete. David Archer for Brian Wiggins, number 80. It's another turnover on downs for the Calgary defense.
Defense has been the strength of all the great Edmonton Eskimo teams. Up-to-date standings in the CFL West.
You know what?
It's a tie, but Edmonton holds home field for the moment because of a record of victories over British Columbia. However, if the Lions win next week and the Eskimos lose, BC will host a playoff game for the first time in a long, long time.
Yeah, 1987 was the last time the BC Lions hosted a playoff game in the Dome at BC Place, and, you know,
they did host a playoff game after that, although we usually call that playoff game the Grey Cup.
Yeah, well, that doesn't count. Of course, they won that one in 94.
They won that one, yes. But that was a BC Lion team not unsimilar to what this BC Lion team has accomplished over the last 5 weeks. Win, 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 and get hot at the right time. And the Lions have an opportunity to grab second spot in the West because of this loss by the Edmonton Eskimos here today.
And it worked out well for Wally Buono because he got the win, which he wanted, but he didn't. And the most important thing is he didn't get his quarterback hurt, Jeff Garcia. So worked out real well for Wally Buono here this afternoon.
Sports Desk coming right up with Teresa Cruz after this very final play of the afternoon. Henry Burris is down on one knee to surrender, but that's not what the Calgary Stampeders did here today. They annihilate the Edmonton Eskimos one more time, 3 straight for the Stamps. They win the Battle of Alberta very convincingly in 1998. More heat on this guy.